When you think of a human rights crisis, what pops into your head? Mass force or countless refugees that are being displaced by war? What about economical disparities within many countries? Now, did you ever think that the number of kids without parents would be a human rights crisis that we'd have to discuss right now? Having been part of that statistics, I feel that it is very important that we need to discuss it and people need to learn about it. According to the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, as of 2015, there are 140 million kids without parents. Let me put this into perspective. According to World Population Review, there are 7,651,361 people living in Washington state. Now, multiply that number by 18. That would be nearly equal to the number of kids without parents. I am adopted from Ethiopia, a country listed in USA Today's top 25 poorest countries in the world. Having a first-hand experience of how adoption met my needs, I want to persuade you why adoption is the right choice or solution when it comes to solving this human rights crisis that we have to face today. Adoption gives millions of kids families that can provide them with alternative way of nurturing them, their developmental needs, and provides them with resources they need to thrive. In this speech, I want to tell you why adoption is the right choice. I will first discuss why the number of kids without parents is an issue, along with the developmental impacts of not having parents. Then I will discuss my solution and help you visualize it. Lastly, we will briefly go over this speech, provide you with a call to action, and leave you with something to remember. Now let's discuss the impact of this human rights crisis. There are too many kids that are raised without parents, and that impact is extremely detrimental to them. I want to remind you the number I mentioned earlier, 140 million kids without parents, according to UNICEF. These kids are missing out on the important role that parents play in their development. The article, The Role of Parents in Children's Psychological Development, stated that kids gain emotional identification by having parents. This would include comforting someone when they are crying to just learning how to control their emotion and express them. Another article titled Recognizing the Importance of Parental Influence in Social and Behavioral Development stated that parents play a key role in child's cognitive, physical, emotional, and social development. Without their parents, kids fall behind on these key developmental areas, which would have a negative impact on their future. From my experience, living without parents, you end up taking on roles of adults, from taking care of your siblings to your parents, and in addition to yourself. So how do you fit into this picture of the issue? So according to this survey, 90% of you said that you knew someone that was adopted, and about 10% of you said that you did not. If you heard these people's stories, you would understand that just how powerful adoption is. Some may say the large number of kids without parents is not a problem, to the level of being a human rights crisis. But I am here to tell you that even one child that is living without their parent is an issue that needs to be discussed, because parents play a key role in the development of children. So what is the solution to this problem, to this human rights crisis? Let me tell you. When it comes to finding a solution for the millions of kids without parents, adoption seems or is the most logical choice. Adopted kids are able to be brought up into families that are loving and selfless and can help them nurture their developmental needs. According to Adoption Choice Incorporation, kids who are adopted have more access to resources such as counselors and their parents that are more attentive if they are experiencing developmental hurdles. These parents also value education, they have a stable income, and they are less likely to divorce. Mentalhealth.net stated that kids that are adopted have trouble with their identity because they are separated from their culture, which they would have a role in their shaping their identity. On the other hand, the website Adoption Makes Families Incorporation stated that kids who are adopted are more self-aware, which only leads them to better understanding themselves and truly accepting all of who they are. Now that you've heard the impact of adoption, why don't we visualize the impact? Picture what it would be like 10, 20 years from now if the rate of kids without parents increased. We had said 140 million. Imagine 180 million. Now imagine 200 million kids without parents. This would equal the population of Brazil. This number is hard to imagine, but it does not seem like we are slowing down from reaching it at this rate. We live in a country that is successful with all the resources available to raise kids. I mean, many of us spend thousands of dollars on things that we do not need annually. Now, what if we put those things to raising kids that do not see a future for themselves? Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption stated that there are 81.5 million parents in America that have considered adoption. If just 1 in 500 of these adults adopted, every child waiting to be adopted, specifically in the US, would have a family, one that is permanent, unlike foster care. Now, I really hope you have seen that the solution to this human rights crisis is crystal clear and that one that is possible to do. Kids living without parents is an issue that needs more attention. This issue has a solution, which is adoption. Adoption places kids in loving homes with parents that are financially stable and kids that are given opportunities to thrive, from access to education to attentive attention they receive from their parents. I urge you to think about adoption, whether you are able to adopt or help those who are adopting through fundraising. The help provided now does not reach the millions of kids in need. Go out of your comfort zone and find local partners that are trying to adopt or organizations that support adoption. Even though you are one person, your impact on one child is more valuable than the thousands of people talking about the issue. Stories are powerful. Our personal stories are even more powerful. Adoption rewrites a child's story. So why don't you be a part of rewriting that one child's story? Thank you for listening.